Hey guys, I'm Desiree,
And I'm Basil.
and welcome to episode 6 of Two Creators and a Microphone, a podcast where we get on the mic and have candid conversations about tech, video production, gear, and living the creative lifestyle. Hey Basil,
Desiree.
how have you been?
I've been good. I've been traveling just a little bit. Uh, as you know, went to Utah and Idaho, working with the Mezcal crew. That's the crew I was with in Mexico. So shout out to Shayna and DP, Chad and Daron. So I'll see you guys because I think we're going to Vermont and next week. So yeah, just traveling and working as always. What about yourself?
Awesome. Well, I've been just trying to do so many things at the same time, working on
What is
my vacation cinematic, my cinematic vacation video that I took probably almost 3 months ago, and it's
we want
still
to
trying to, and I'm still trying to edit that, but everything seems to be working against me in trying to finish it. So I'm still working on that. But in addition to that, I've been buying some gear. At first, I was being really good and not buying too much,
the one?
but now it's becoming, I'm buying a few more things. I guess, halfway through the year, everybody starts putting stuff on sale. B&H just had like their mega
Yeah,
sale.
yeah.
So I picked up a few things there. And then I also picked up a few things before. I got some more of like little accessories, like gear accessories. I think you were the one who showed it to me. I don't remember if it was you or I saw it on Instagram, but basically I think it was Small Rig came out with like a camera plate that you could hide an air tag in.
Oh no, I
So I,
wasn't the one because that sounds
uh,
pretty cool.
so I bought that. So I haven't opened the box yet, but that's one of the things I bought. Then I bought another plate, probably, but more for like my YouTube setup
Okay.
because I had my camera cage and everything sitting on this plate and the mount for that plate, but there's like a little turn, like a little knob where you would tighten it, and that gets in the way of the battery compartment in my camera. So I was like, I need a different one that doesn't have a knob. So
Eh,
that was what I bought. And then I bought what was it? I think it was Small Rig, the mini video head. I think I showed you that
Yeah,
was
you showed
great
me that for
for
that.
like travel size tripod. So I bought that as well. Still haven't used it, but when I go out, I will use it. Definitely have to try, test it out. Is that I'm trying to do like these unboxing videos. So I have all of them in the boxes just like stacked up, ready to go
Right, the unbox it.
because yeah, to unbox them because I also bought a little photography kind of portable thing that's on wheels where you can put your backdrops in it. So I was like, oh, I gotta test that out too and film some unboxing videos. So quite a few things I've been buying lately, and hopefully I stop, but that's never the case.
So yeah, I haven't purchased anything big items. Mine has all been since I've been doing a lot of audio work. It's just been tiny little things like I think Bumblebee, like covers and concealers, stuff like that to stick on to clients. I don't think I've purchased anything new. I'm definitely waiting to purchase a new camera. I know that. Have my second camera, but nothing that oh, did I? No, no, nothing. Some
No,
microphones, that lavs, nothing new. So I'm still good. But that mega sale, I did see a couple of things I wanted. I think I saw the binoculars, off the wall binoculars. Nikon had these binoculars, and I was like, oh, don't need it, but hey, that'd be great. That'd be great to have some binoculars. Well,
right.
actually, it may come in handy with the lighthouse stuff, so I may need it.
Yeah, for the B&H sale I bought, it was just like accessories. I bought things that I would say, oh, I'll buy that, but not right now
Mm-hmm.
since they were on sale. So I bought like that collapsible stool. So I was like, sometimes you just need a chair where you're somewhere. So
Um,
I
that
bought
is something that um that is a must. I have those collapsible little with stools, and unfortunately, I can't travel with it. But on set, especially when you're running gunning, you need something to just sit down because there's no place to sit unless you're gonna sit on the floor.
right. So I
So
bought that. Yeah, I
yeah,
was like, oh, it's on sale. Then I bought a 35-foot HDMI cable. Like I said, don't need it right now, but okay, it does come in handy on set if you have to, push clients away from your from your camera setup.
hmm
So that that
we
and
know that
then
all too well.
yeah. And then I actually haven't told you this, but I ordered the Wandered bag. So we are officially twinsies because
Twinsies.
Basil also, I actually told Basil about the bag. He ordered it first and I've been waiting on it. And then I was like, you know what? Might as well, if I'm already starting a B&H order, just throw the bag in there.
Well,
Okay.
you did talk to me about it. I think I was with Chad, and he has the 3L Peak Design bag, and I told you about it, and then you told me, hey, you should look at the Wandered, and I did, and I had some questions about it, and this is what made me make my decision because I sent them an email. It was on a Sunday night when we were talking, so I sent them an email Sunday night. No one is gonna reply back Sunday night. And I had two questions for them. Monday morning, this email from them directly, and they were telling me, and they were just so nice on how they described my situation, and then they proceeded to give me the answer. And I was like, wow, that was a really nice email just to tell me, yes, it worked. Okay. And I said, thank you very much. And then they responded right back, like if this person is my friend and sending me emails. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go and buy it right now. That's why I didn't delay, because I was like, I'm getting this bag. Plus, I wanted to use it when I'm traveling next week. And then I think
Right.
you were like on the fence. You were looking at Mr. McKinnon's bag.
Yes, because I have his backpack and the sling is what we were looking into. And I liked it because I guess Peter McKinnon is like me, that we have to be very organized, especially like with our bag, and everything needs a place in it. And that's what I like about his bags, is that they're like dedicated spots for things. And the sling had everything, that I needed organizational wise. Like there was a place for the batteries, for your filters and things like that. But the only thing that I would say kind of deterred me to it, it was like, oh, if you wanted to attach, let's say, your tripod to the bottom of it, you have to purchase those extra
Yeah,
straps.
a la carte.
Yeah, which I have them because I have them for the backpack, but then I was
Right.
like, well, if I'm going to need another one, then that's another $20 I'm going to have to pay for those straps. So I was like, and then there was a few other things there, but overall the bag was really nice, and it lets you close the bag one-handedly, but it's not a full zipper closure on the Peter McKinnon like you would on the Wandered. Like
Right.
on Peter McKinnon, it was just like a little bungee kind of cord that you loop over like a little holder or something that closes it, but it doesn't secure it. And for me, why I got the bag was because in a few months I'm going to be going to Greece, and I want to film more with like my Sony cameras versus the action camera and things like that, because we're going to be
Right.
doing more walking tours. So I'm like, okay, let me bring my camera. And Europe, very notorious for like pickpockets and stuff, so I wanted something small that I could put in front of me, because I'm not going to take the backpack
Right.
on these excursions. I will travel the backpack, getting there, but not for the excursion. So I wanted
Right.
something that I could just put in front of me that I could see, but also secure once I have the camera in my hand.
Right. With one
And
hand.
right. And the Peter McKinnon one, it was still technically open. And I was like, I don't know if that would would fly in
And this
Europe.
is why I went with the Wandered. That was one question that I asked him. Can I, if I'm holding the camera, tripod, boom pole, whatever in one hand, can I just go in, grab what I need, and zip it closed? And they were like, yes. That's why they created a zipper, and the zipper has a big little hook so your finger can get in there and close that. So
Yeah.
hats off to Wandered for that. Thank you.
Yep.
And now that you say you're going to Greece, huh? I
Yep.
wonder when that travel video is coming out.
Yeah. probably 2024 at the at the rate. My goal is to actually have the one from a few months ago done before I go to Greece. That's like my goal. Well, my goal was originally the end of this month, but we're kind of there and we haven't gotten to that part. That's the only thing about when you're working on other things and then trying to do things for yourself
Yeah.
is that you get pulled away sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it takes much longer than if you had like, oh, I could get this done in a week. And like the week's time dedicated for yourself, which I wish I had, but
I think that happens to all creatives. And especially if you're working with clients, you get client work, you have your work, you have new clients, you have old clients that you may want to fire. So yeah, yeah, I definitely
right.
understand that. So any new thing? Last time we were on, we were talking about our NAB and all the different stuff. Any new stuff out like that?
Well, Cinegear was not too long ago.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
a lot of, a lot of brands were there specifically for DPs and like the Hollywood production crowd. Pretty much just, showing out their all of the new stuff is including the new Panasonic cameras.
Yeah. I think I saw, and for you Sony lovers, though, the Venus 2, they're actually getting an upgrade on the firmware for that. But yeah, I had seen it before, but I think that's one that we should go to as well. It's right there
Yeah,
in LA, and then it had like anybody that a lot of the DPs that worked on films and stuff were there, and it'd be cool to run into them and just to see that they're like gearheads like us, that they're actually out there looking for new gear.
right.
So
Exactly.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep. And plus they have probably more access to higher end budgets so they
Of
can
course,
actually
of course,
get their hands on the new toys much faster than
of course. As soon as
a
they show up, they're
smaller.
like, "Oh, Desiree, yeah, take this, try this."
Of course, then you fall in love with it and they're like, I wish I could get him, but you don't have the budget at the moment.
So yeah. Um.
Yep. So for this episode, we're talking about client work and working
Mhm.
with clients.
Or
Is
maybe not.
or maybe not, because the topic of this episode is when should you fire or when is it the right time to fire a client?
Yes. When is the right time to fire a client? I want people to really hear that and hear that well. Um. Well, before we really get into that, because you're gonna have to stop me because I can go forever and a day talking about that. Who wouldn't want to fire their client? But before we go there, let's take a step back and think about this. And I'm talking mostly to people who perhaps are in this industry, whether you may have just started or intermediate or professional. It's definitely for you. Um, if you're just starting out, this may not be for you, okay? I'm just going to be upfront with that. So let's say you're a camera person. You want to be a videographer. You want to be a photographer. And you've maybe in the hobby stage, just turning it from a hobby into a business. So right now you're out there and you're hustling. You're getting clients for your photo shoots. You're getting clients for your video. And there may be like individual clients, and then there are clients that are recurring. Clients that you get that, every week, every month, you're getting work from them. So that's what I consider like a great client, not the one-off where they want you to do one thing and you may not ever see them.
Yeah.
They may refer you to another business, but that's it. And we can get into that later on another show as to when you get a client, how you could get more work from them. Have some good examples on that as well. But so we have a client and you're doing work for them and you don't know the ins and out of the business. So you find this person and you do work for them. And for the most part, you want to be really, really creative because that's what we are. We're really creative. We see a project, we're like, we love that. We want to do all these different things for the client, and it doesn't always work out. before I go into that again, I know I keep backstepping instead of going forward, is we also have to be at a place before we fire our clients. In other words, we're that camera person and we're crafting our skill. We're working on a skill set. We may not be at that level yet, but you're working towards that level. And you may be a producer and you're working towards it. But I'm talking now, as you get better in your craft, you may do events, and just for round, small numbers, you do an event when you first started out, you did it for $100. You didn't care. You just wanted to get the experience and you did it. You're excited. Had your camera and you did it. And then now, 7 months later, you've perfected that event thing. You got that down. You could do it in your sleep, in your head. You don't need to take notes. And they still want to pay you $100 because that's what you started off as. So that money price have to change. And that in itself may cause you to fire a client. There's clients out, let's say the industry is paying 500. You're saying 100. You're making 100. And now you step up to those clients that are paying you the 500. I'm just using these as small numbers. This is not the number, okay? And they're paying you 500 and you start getting those clients. Are you going to keep the other clients that are only paying 100? Now you can go back to them and there are other ways to try and show them that, this is your value, this is your worth, but that may not always be the case. Okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to keep them? You're going to let them go. Now you want to attain something. And then I'm going to go to a second point. And this where goals come in. You were also talking earlier about how, you set a goal to finish that travel video before you go to Greece. And just like that goal, I think we all have to set goals. As a creative, sometimes our minds go all over the place. We're thinking about this, we're thinking about all these. You have all these things swirling around that we want to accomplish, but we have to set goals and put them in place. We want to obtain this. We want to be at this level. We want to do these videos. We don't want to be doing wedding videos. If nothing wrong with the wedding videographers. I love you guys, and you guys shoot well. I just don't want to be doing weddings. But anyway, so you want to reach. You want to be a YouTuber. If that's what you want to do, or you want to do short films. But you're not doing that. You're doing corporate videos, and you're doing other things to put food on the table to pay the bills. So you set a goal when you say, okay, I'm going to be doing these events, but I'm going to take on projects now to do films, short films, or whatever that is. You're aligning yourself up with your goal that you want to obtain. And once you've gotten to those goals, you may find out that there are people who are still, no, don't do short films. I want you to do this. And they're pulling you away from that. And at that time is when you need to decide, do I really want to pursue my goal as to what I want, or I'm going to pursue, usually it's the money the client is paying, so you want to keep the client happy and make the money. But I'm going to get to the point now. I'm talking to Shana, the director that I'm working with on this particular project, and we came from Mexico and we were talking. And I wrote this down because I remembered it. And she goes, I remember her saying that if something doesn't align with what you want in your direction and your morals, then don't do it. Do not sell yourself short. Everyone wants your experience and your craft, but most people do not want to pay for what it's worth or treat you for what you are worth.
Right.
And that is so true. You have clients that they want you to keep doing what you're doing, and if you get outside that lane or aspire to do more, they're like, no, we don't want you to do that. We want you to do this. And then there are some corporate clients, and this is the fact, they need to stay in the corporate realm, and I understand that. But you as a creative, you want to put some creative flair in it. First of all, don't. Whatever the client wants, just do it. Use your creative skills for your projects or for other clients that want that creative skill.
Because you'll have clients that say, oh, we want creativity. And then when you deliver it, Then they're like, no, no, we don't
Yes.
want that. We
And
want
we
this.
know just what client that is we're talking about. Yes, we want all this
Exactly.
creative stuff, and then you give it to them, and then they're like, okay, not so creative. And then by the end of the video, it really
Nope.
has no creativity at all to it. But
Right.
yeah, so anything that's aligning, if your client is, and then if your client is not going in the direction that you want to go, ultimately you are the one to say whether or not you want to do it. You have the choice. Now, when is it the time to fire them? A lot of people, I am that person from past, and you know my past. If I don't like the way something is going, I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to finish. I would never stop a project. If I'm in the middle of a project, I'm never going to stop the project and then disappear. I'm going to try and finish the project out, and I'll say, hey, I don't think I'm a good fit for you, and we need to go. And it's something that I don't like. I don't like disorganization. When you're working with people or a client and you're always like, you're late, you're rushing, last minute things to purchase because they didn't think of it and you have to bring it up, and last minute everything, and instead of a crew, you're a one-man band and you're running around, and then you're working extra hours every night to try and finish the project. That is not healthy. And for me, every time I've done that for long periods with certain clients, I've had health issues. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to stay healthy and maintain a healthy working habit, or do you want to just go? Now, I'm not as young as those other guys and they can do that, but I can't. So me, personally, if I don't like it, I'm going to stop it and shut it down right then and there. Even if the money's good, I'm going to say, no, my health and my friends and family come first. Forget it. Because ultimately, there needs to be some balance. You can't be running and gunning and traveling all the time. Traveling is nice, but to do that 24/7, after a while, that gets old too.
Right.
But I don't mind working on a project that may last 2-3 months, and then you get a break before you jump into the next one. So it's up. It's honestly, it's up to you. What do you want to do? So, me, I'm leaving. Money or no money, I'm out. Now, you may be in a situation where you need the money. You have bills. You just bought your brand new camera. Yeah. And that bill is coming in from B&H, and you need to pay it. So, you have to ask yourself, how long can you endure this before, it kills you? Sometimes it just kills your creativity, and then you don't want to do anything. And I've seen a lot of people that they say they're burnt out. And they're burnt out from things that they like to do. It's just that it's so repetitive, and they never get a break. Then they're swimming and they can't get air. And I think if it gets like that, and your mental state is not 100%, it's not the same, then I think it's time to fire that client.
Exactly. But also, you may have the client from hell that's just like, no, I'm going to call you whenever I feel like it and demand, this and that from you. Or they want you to do all of these things at the last minute and they don't give you no heads up. And then, they want you to rush for the project, and then you get it to them, and then they take their time getting back to you.
Oh yeah.
Those
I know this.
changes, or,
Yeah.
getting back to you at all. Like, they'll just ghost you until months later and then expect you to then jump
back onto
that project when you've already moved on to other projects, because you're independent business. You have to sustain yourself, so it's not like you could really wait months and months and months till somebody gets back to you to just be like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for you,
And then
for
a
6
lot of
months
times
to
you can't
respond.
invoice them. A lot of times you can't even invoice them until it's finished.
Right.
So now this project that you should have gotten paid in 2 weeks, you're 2-3 months out, and then even when that goes in, it's a net 30 after that.
And sometimes they don't even go follow the net 30.
So,
They
well,
tell you, oh, it has to be net 30. You want it net 3. And they're telling you, no, net 30. And then they're taking net 60 to
yeah,
pay you
and that
or
is all.
more.
That has happened all the time. Now, there's some clients that if they tell you up front is net 30, net 45, net 60, net 90, I've had net 90s, then, going into it that it's going to take 90 days. I just like to ask them because it was one client like that. And I said, well, when does that 90 day, when does that first day start? When I send the invoice, or does it start on the day that I start working? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, the day you start working, if you send an invoice the day you start working, well, that's when the countdown begins. And that's fine. Knowing that going into it, it's when they said net 30 and then it's net 45. So I know we're getting a little bit off, but that's something else that you may want to align yourself with. That's stressful in itself because you have, everybody has bills and stuff that they have to pay for. And now they're wondering, when you're going to get paid. And sometimes you don't have like a corporation or you don't have somebody in charge of your billing. It's just you're following up with that as well.
Yep.
And I suppose that's also something that you have to decide, do you want that client? Now, if you have projects, though, that they're like in the thousands, 5, 6, 10,000 and up, those corporations are going to do net 90, net 60 because of the funds you're getting. So it's just, are you going to turn it down just because of that? I would say probably not. You're probably going to turn it down for the disorganization that I'm talking about, or for the headaches that you're going to get that they feel as though they can call you any hour of the night to get it done.
Right. But also
And
if they consistently pay you late. So, okay, you agree to the net 90, but then they're not paying it net 90. Then you have to think about it like, oh, they're just not going to pay me. And so, when they feel like it, then that's when you have to consider, do you want to continue this relationship? Because no, if it's just unpredictable pay,
yeah,
you're not, it's not sustainable.
And it's not worth it.
No.
Get some other clients. I had a friend too, recently, it was a net 90 and they didn't tell him that until like he was into it. And he was so upset. He just was like, you know what? They wanted him to do more work. He's like, no, I don't think I want to work for you guys no more. And, when I get this money, that was it. And they actually made a concession and they paid him before the net 90 because he was just so disgruntled and for good reason. But yeah, I've had clients that they just... I think they call you any hour of the night, any hour of the day, because they believe that the project that they're working on is the greatest thing in sliced bread. And all of our clients think their project is the greatest thing.
Or that you're their dedicated person, that you don't have any other clients but them.
But they're not thinking about that. All they know is, I have a project and I want it. And I think the worst is when you deliver on time, and then that thing you were talking about, you're tracking them down. And so you were the one who told me about this pause clause, okay?
Yes.
Put that in effect. Pause clause, which is basically the minute you pause this project and it goes on pause, well, you could set the parameter. It could be, 7 business days, 30 business days, whatever. If you pause this project to get this going, then there's an additional fee, $250, $1,000 to get this thing back on the ball. Most clients don't want no extra thing, so that will keep them on track. Okay,
Right, and you include that in your contracts, which, like you were saying before about the goals, like how important it is to have the goals. Well, those goals that you set, you could just transfer that into your contract and say, this is what this is how I work. You need to abide by this, and if you don't, these are the penalties, like the pause clause. If you don't come back, we move your project to the bottom of the list, and then we take the next project that's coming up, and then we focus on that until you decide to get your act together. and
Right.
come
And
back and give us, any final revisions or final approvals, because we can't afford to stay, in limbo with a project. We have other clients that are like, "Hey, I have the money right now, and I could hire you right now to the
right.
project."
And
You're
that
not
has
going to
happened
pass that
too.
up.
That has happened to me. Where I have clients that the minute you finish your work, they put a check in your hand. And I have told some of my old clients, I was like, hey, I've been doing all this work for you. I know it's going to take 30 to 40 days, but right now, I need to go to the grocery store. I need to put gas in my car, whatever it is. And so I'm going to take on these other projects because I know at the end of the day, they're going to pay. Um, and then that's just how it is. I may not tell them that, but that's what I'll do. And some clients need to know, since you freelance or you work, that you're not always obligated 24/7 to them. A quick thing that you know about, sometimes you can't even get to a client to explain what you want. So you were talking about how we should be like, okay, these are the things that I expect, and and you're talking, you're communicating what they want, and you're seeing what they want, and it aligns with what you want, and then you say, okay, well, in order to start this project, these are the things that I need, and maybe need a deposit, whatever it is. You know the price. This is the price. Do you approve the budget, whatever that budget is? Okay. Sometimes you don't even get to that. Okay. They say, yes, we want you. And then they don't tell you what the project is. And then they call you, hey, you ready to shoot? And you're like, what are you talking? It just happened to me. I'm like, okay, you told me about this project, but between then and now, I knew nothing about the project. Didn't know when it was going to start. And I can't have my crew standing by for a day that they don't even know how much they're going to get paid or what they actually are going to do, because the client didn't really agree to really anything.
Or put a deposit to
Nothing.
lock you in.
So I'm like, you know what? If this is how it's going to start in the beginning, then it's not going to get any better. Okay? Because everybody always puts their best foot forward, their best face forward. So if that's the best you're getting, then it won't get any better than that down the road. So don't set foot in there.
That is a big red flag.
Yeah,
Start looking for the red flags.
If you don't like this organization and you see the client is super disorganized, understand that if you take on this project, that's how it's going to be. And I can't take that. When you were talking about how you bought the different things to put things in your case and be organized, there are two types of videographers, I think. It's the one like us, photographers, that are like, they have a case and everything has a place in that case. Okay, that's me. Nothing's wrong with that. That's just how I operate. So when I go in there, it's always the same place. And then I have other people that I know that just have a box and everything goes in the box. And they're digging through it like spaghetti to try and find it. And then that's how they operate. Okay, that's fine. But that's how they are. So if you're going to take on a client that's like that, understand those are the things that you have to deal with. And, if they say, it's $100,000 gig, you remember, oh, I want to take this gig. But understand, you're getting paid $100,000, maybe not for your work, to deal with that disorganization. If you could do it, hats off to you. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, the $100,000 may not be worth it.
No,
worth the headache and
no, it may not be. But
and the
I
trouble.
want to read that quote again because it's so. I don't know. It was impactful for me. But do not sell yourself short. Everyone wants your experience and your craft, but most people do not want to pay for what it's worth or treat you for what you are worth. And in this industry, especially as you get to a level where you know everything, you know how to shoot, you know how to edit, whatever that may be. You want to be the editor, you want to be the best editor. You'll keep honing in your craft. You and I are still, I wouldn't say learning, but we're still trying to perfect our craft. Because I don't care how good you are, who you are, mistakes are made on sets. Something is forgotten, something. Especially if you're traveling and you're renting gear. So you want to be the best. I went into a shoot that I was doing for my own personal YouTube channel. So, hey, let's talk about that. No Ordinary People. That's going to be coming out on the Art of Basil YouTube channel. Yeah. Unselfish plug there.
Shameless plug.
So, okay. So on that, I was dealing with a client, and I was late to getting to my own personal project. So I was behind about half an hour. And in that, I forgot I used the aperture lights, and I forgot the aperture light dome, and I forgot the what's this thing I'm using? I forgot what it is. The lantern. I forgot the light dome, and I forgot the lantern. So this was going to be a 2-light shoot setup for one person. And I didn't have it. I wasn't going to drive back home and get it. So experience was like, okay, what I'll do when I got there, I found a room. There was some ceilings that I can bounce the light off. I bounced the light off 2 ceilings. The walls were white, and I got the right exposure and the right lighting that I need. That comes with experience, because if you hadn't done that before or know how to light properly, you wouldn't be able to do that. So all these skill sets you have, don't sell yourself short. And later on, we'll talk about that. That comes also in the pricing. What separates you apart from somebody else? Someone's getting paid $1,000, you're making $500. Someone's getting paid $2,500, you're making $1,000. What is the difference? What are they doing differently from you? What do they have that you don't have? If y'all have the same gear and you're doing the same thing, you both have 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 feet, what is the difference? Sometimes it comes to they have aligned themselves up with the clients that pay and see their potential and see their worth. So many times people just, I just want a videographer, just do that. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that. I need to understand what you want, and I need to focus on what your needs are as a client and deliver exactly what you want, and go above and beyond. That's what I always want for all of my clients. And sometimes they don't even see it, and they don't understand it. And it's your job to show them your experience and give your experience, because you've been working around this, and say, hey, this is the way to go. You, Desiree, is awesome in social media. So if someone said, oh, they want to do both social media, I say, okay, this is how we should shoot it so we can get 2 types of videos, 16:9 and vertical. And then the client shoots himself in the foot because they think they know more. Okay, so now you really can't deliver what you want because they are preventing you from doing it. They don't want you to do it. And so they have to understand that as well. And again, that may just come back to the beginning contract. So it's in there. Having a clear knowledge of what your client wants and what you're going to deliver.
Right. And it's also important to meet with the client, because sometimes, clients who just say, oh, well, you're the videographer, go to this event and then shoot. Just shoot. Not what to shoot, who's going to be there. If there's certain people you need to get on film for this video, it's just go shoot it, edit a video. Very vague description of what they want from you. So if you're charging, let's say $100 for that, to the client to charge for the video, and you don't have that experience of, well, I need to know, is there a particular person? Is this, is there certain things you must have in the video versus other things that are optional? Someone who's, maybe just starting out doesn't know that, and they're figuring, oh, well, I'm getting great deal because this person's only charging me $100, but then when they don't film what you needed them to film, because A, you didn't tell them, and B, they're, if they're not doing this all the time, they may not know, like, oh, maybe I should just get some footage of the welcome sign that has all the sponsors on the event, because hey, maybe you're gonna want to show your sponsors, hey, we're giving you another outlet to show your branding. They're not gonna know that. They're gonna come back to you and be like, well, why didn't you get this shot? Well, you didn't tell me. You just went go shoot and go film everything. there's only a certain amount of time that you have,
Right,
because if it's, let's say, if it's a half day shoot, but the event was 12 hours long, you're only there for half a day.
right.
So you have to know what to get in that time frame. And if you don't, or if you're just like, oh, this looks good, but it's not what the client wants,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
lot of
yeah,
it's communication.
communication and then an experience as well. Because for a new shooter, they wouldn't know. Uh, I always get that establishing shot. Always get the name brands of everything. There's a lot of stuff that we do that someone who's starting will not know what to do. But even at that point, if you didn't have a conversation about that, you could still do all of this, and they'll be like, "Well, you missed person A.
Right.
I don't know who person A is."
Right.
So of course I missed it because I don't know who the A-lister was who was there. Perhaps I don't know who that person was. I might have shot them, but it wasn't. I didn't focus the energy on that person because I didn't know what the focal point was.
Right.
So
Unfortunately, we're not
communication,
psychic. We don't know exactly what you want without being told. Like,
right?
that's the key part of all of this, is communicating and communicating effectively with your client. And if they're not communicating with you, you have to ask them the questions and get that information out of them, because half of the time they're not thinking of what they need.
And if
What
you
they
can't
really
get that information from them, fire.
That's it. On to the next client.
Well, if you can't get the information, then you really can't do your job properly.
Right.
And I honestly, every time I shoot for somebody else or whatever it is I do, I always want my work to be the best work that I just did. And I'm always trying to do that, no matter if it's a high paying client or a medium paying client. Doesn't matter. This is what I want to deliver. And if we can't communicate and we can't understand one another, then why should we even work with one another?
Right. Yep. Because a lot of the times, the client thinks, oh, you're my employee, you're going to do as I say, but they're not paying you solely. They're not pretty much justifying your pay with a monthly salary or a biweekly salary. So in that case, it's like, if you're not worth my time, it's time to move on to somebody else who is.
And I know someone who's listening to this is going to be like, man, who do you guys think you are? But that's what you call aligning yourself with the people that you want to work with and the people that are in this working towards the same goal.
And
I don't.
also,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, and also, like, when you're advertising or, promoting your services, promote the services you want to be doing. Like,
Yeah.
you want to do event photography, but you're not promoting, your services. Like, hey, I do event photography. Like, pretty much what you want, the work you want, that's the one you have to kind of
Go after.
go after. And then if you don't have the experience, do a personal project in whatever that is. If it's a documentary, if it's a cooking show, whatever it is. And then so you can show future clients, hey, this is what I do. Because
And this
sometimes you
is
may not have the experience, or you're not getting that clientele. You're only getting a clientele for certain types of work, but you want to expand or completely switch. You kind of have to be your own client, do that video, that type of style, and then advertise yourself as being able to do it. Doing like what they call was like a spec video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much be your own client and be like, hey, there you have freedom, your total creative freedom to do
Right.
whatever you want and really show what you're made of. Because then other clients who want to align with that will see and be like, hey, that's the person I want, because that's the style
Yeah.
of video I'm looking to do for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So definitely promote the services you want to do, but then also, if you don't have it, do it yourself
I
and
remember.
show what you can do.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you two examples of that. One, I don't like to do weddings. And again, I have a lot of friends who do weddings. As a matter of fact, if I'm hiring camera guys and they haven't done weddings, chances are I probably won't hire them, because wedding videographers are awesome. That's how I started. That was my bread and butter back in the day, but it made me a better shooter. I could set up and shoot quickly. I can get the shot and get out, because weddings don't stop. And if you can do a wedding, you can setting up. Oh, that's a luxury. What? You mean if you get to set this shot up and put the lighting? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. But if I don't, I could still get it. That's what you want. And if I don't want to do weddings, then why would I put weddings on my website? Why would I put weddings, advertise that I do them? No. People call me. I do not do weddings. Do you know how to do them? No, I don't know how to do them.
I do not recall.
I don't do weddings. So yeah. So that way, if you don't want to do it, then don't put a service that you don't want to do.
Exactly.
At all. I remember when I was taking some photos. I like to do photos, but photos for me are very personal. It's when I want to do it, so I don't say that I'm a photographer. And I posted some of the person I shot on Instagram, and I started to get DMs about photo shoots. I was like, wait a second, wait, and I took the photo down because I was like, nope, I don't want to do this. So no more photos. If you don't want to do it, don't put it out there.
Exactly. Because, yeah, people are going to be like, oh, well, he takes photos too. And the thing is, because I just see what they're coming at. It's like, oh, well, a photo shoot is much cheaper than a whole video shoot. So like, oh, I can get him to do it. And then.
Oh, how about this one? Oh, you're doing video? Can you take some photos as well?
Oh, yeah. That's where the contract comes, and it's like that lays out exactly what you're going to be doing, and no add-on services unless they're going to pay.
Yeah, but even so, if the photographer is $100 and you pay, and I'm just using round numbers, just small numbers. You're paying the photographer $100. You're paying a videographer $100, and let's say the videographer comes there, and then they tell him or her to take photos. The person is only going to get $100. The client just saved themselves another $100 for not getting a photographer if you're taking photos. And there's been times when they'd be like, how can you get a few photos? And I've said, I'm sorry, I don't do photos. Because, if you're using a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, it looks like a photographer's camera, although you're shooting video with it. And they're like, hey, can you get, well, my other videographer used to get photos as well. Okay. I don't say anything. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to get this next video shot, and I just keep moving on. Now, if you wanted me and you were going to pay me to do both, but I don't do this anymore, which I used to in the past, yeah, I would charge them accordingly. And a lot of times they didn't want that because they're charging, it's two things in one. Nobody wants to do that. They feel like they're overpaying for what they hired you for. And that's why, going back to the contract, but also knowing your self-worth, I think is very important. As I'm closing this out, knowing your self-worth, knowing you're having goals, and even if you don't reach those goals, to continue at them or find another way to obtain that goal, and keep pressing forward for the thing you want to achieve.
Exactly. And don't let anyone push you around trying to, make you do what they want. It's, you're in this as well. It's a two-way relationship.
Yeah, it is. And it takes work, and it takes communication.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you enjoyed this topic. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform or on our YouTube channel, and enable notifications so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, we would also love it if you could rate this podcast and leave us a review on your listening app of choice. It only takes a few minutes, and it will help us improve the show and reach new listeners. And be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at 2 Creators and a Microphone, and on TikTok, it's at 2 Creators and a Mic. Thanks again for listening, and we are 2 Creators dropping the mic.